Hey guys, how are you? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing a review of a thriller from Australia. This is the English language, released in the year 1978, directed by Jim Sharman, and this film is called The Night The Prowler. And the story to The Night The Prowler, it starts off with Felicity. She's a young woman who still lives at home with her very overbearing mother and her father. So they live a fairly quiet life, just a very strange sort of atmosphere that they have. But then one evening, Felicity says that a night prowler has come in and raped her. So this has absolutely devastated the mother especially. The father is very upset, but the mother more so is very, very overbearing. So she wants Felicity inside an even bigger bubble than what she already was. So she's very, very paranoid about the bad things that could happen to this to their beloved daughter. So she's very, very strict. She is basically documenting everything she does, and she really doesn't have much of a choice but to go by and do whatever her mother says. So then she starts to believe that she wants more from life. It's got to be better than this, and so she wants to basically be able to express herself and really discover herself in what she wants to be as a person. So she ends up doing this by escaping out at night, and then all of a sudden she has a brain snap and she wants to basically force herself upon other people. So she wants to go from the victim to the avenger basically, and what she's going to do is she's going to try and sexually molest males. So she's going to try and turn it on its ear and reverse the whole situation, and that is what's going to force her to believe that she can be the person that she wants to, all in a very, very morbid way. So that's all I'm going to give you on the synopsis. If you want to know more, please go out there and see this film for yourself. Now, my thoughts on The Night The Prowler. It's very interesting with Australian cinema. Now, in the 70s, there was a boom. Ozploitation, all these films are coming out that got themselves recognised. You had these big stars from America coming into it to sell the films, and a lot of them did very well. You've got Road Games, you've got Mad Max, Razorback, Long Weekend. All those films that really set the standard for Australian cinema. But then it was very interesting because you've got these films that aren't well known at all. Wake in Fright, this one. That these films are the forgotten ones. They've been brushed under the carpet for some reason. So when I saw that The Night The Prowler was in fact Australian and it starred Ruth Cracknell as the overbearing mother, I thought, wow, why isn't this film talked about more? Because it is supposed to be a very good film, but for some strange reason, in the 70s, as I said, there were many films that really got Australia going, but for some reason there were just one or two films that just get swept under the carpet and no one really paid attention to it. So this is definitely one of them. If you're a fan of Ozploitation films, I would say check out The Night The Prowler, although I will say that it did have a lot of problems, unfortunately, but fortunately what keeps it from being a complete mess is the atmosphere. It's a very, very quirky comedy slash thriller. You've got this overbearing mother, you've got the atmosphere inside the house. Really reminded me of another film called Bad Boy Bubby, directed by Ralph de Heer. Now that was an absolutely fantastic film, and it almost felt like it was in the realms of another dimension. And that's what exactly The Night The Prowler feels like. It feels like a surreal dream. But then the characters are exaggerated, but there's a strange feeling that this is really happening. So I love the cinematography. I thought it was really well done. It was just a very quirky feeling that the film had. So if that's your kind of thing, I would say you get something out of it because it really felt like Bad Boy Bubby in some instances. You've got the acting, which is brilliant, from Ruth Cracknell, the overbearing mother. She was likeable at the same time. She was a little bit freaky. She's just this overprotective mother who is trying absolutely everything to get control of her young daughter, but her daughter is now an adult and it's very hard to control. So when the daughter realizes that, yeah, maybe there is something out there for me, that I'm going to discover myself, that's another similarity with Bad Boy Bubby. Not as extreme as Bad Boy Bubby, but it has the same sort of self-discovery, going out in the big bad world and discovering who you are. So that's the overall message to the film, is basically self-discovery and not being controlled by other people, as is the case with a few people out there. You've got the overbearing parents who won't let their children live, and basically this film is just a document of a woman trying to discover herself, but just in a very quirky way. Soundtrack was very good. I liked it, but as I said, the biggest problem with the film was that it lacked what Bad Boy Bubby had. Bad Boy Bubby had the really controversial themes, and this film has controversial themes in rape and this woman trying to do the right thing by doing bad things, but it doesn't grab you in a satisfying way. It feels like it's just skimmed over the top. It has this it has a core in there, but the core is never gone into. It's just basically the icing on the cake, and it's just you look at the icing but you don't get to taste the cake. And that's what the film had, and that's the problem with the film, and that's why I believe this film didn't do as well as other movies out there, because you felt that it had really good characters, It had a very thought-provoking theme to the film, but it just doesn't really utilise that, and that was the biggest problem with it. At the end of the film, I thought, well, it could have gone a little bit further. It dares to push the envelope, but it never really steps out and makes a name for itself. It feels like it's afraid to break the confines that the film has found itself in, and that was a shame, because Ruth Cracknell, as great as the overbearing mother, I thought there were some moments in it that were fairly funny, but it's just a very quirky film. But unfortunately, it just doesn't go for the punch, and as a result of that, it becomes one of the more forgettable sort of films from this period in Australia. But I would say, if you're a fan of Ozploitation films, The Night the Prowler, you may get something out of it, but for me, it wasn't a terrible film, but then again, it's not up there with other films that were more widely recognised. So overall, for The Night the Prowler, I'm going to give it 2.5 stars. 2.5 because I was kind of in between 2.5 and 3, but I'm going to give it 2.5 because yes, it does have a very good platform, but it never jumps to that next level. So that was unfortunate, but I would still recommend it if you're a fan of this type of stuff. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.